Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. I'm going to take you through how to tone down the brightness in your scene and get some realistic lighting effects in UDK. And this is a nighttime scene, so I've made a couple of changes. And some of the changes I made were in the distance light, and I'll take you through that. If you notice that it's a lot darker than the defaulted nighttime scene, it's because I made some changes in the world attributes too as well. So I'll take you through everything, and you can follow along if you want. And we're going to go into the content browser and go under scene, and in the scenes you'll notice you'll look for dominant directional light. Double click on that, and that will place you where the light is. And most importantly, we want to keep excuse me, the brightness up. You don't want to turn it down to 0. It starts out at 2. Type in 0.1 if you can't see what's happening here. I have very high resolution on my monitor, so it's really tiny. So you can just type in 0.1, and if you do it lower, you'll notice that your moon, the physical moon that looks like a physical moon, will go away. So you always want to keep it up at just a little bit higher. I haven't changed anything else in here. Nothing has changed. So keep everything else defaulted. Alright, so I'm going to close that off. I'm going to go back to my area so I can make adjustments here. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into View and World Properties. And under World Properties, I want you to open up Light Environment. And under Character Licht, Indirect Brightness, and all the way down, I want you to change the intensities, contrast, indirect brightness, and all that stuff down to 0.5 on all of those. Okay? So just change all those to 0.5. Okay? And then we want to go to the next really important thing is environment intensity. So the environment intensity I've got set to 0.1. Now that is kind of the same thing as what I have my the directional light in the scene. So now we're matching those up. Now you're going to get a more of a lifelike sense of nighttime instead of being overly bright. So this also will highlight your lights, your torches, which you need to have in your scene. So that really helps with that. It really makes those pop out. And I did change the environment sun color from black to a different color. Okay, so you can make those changes in here, and I went with more of a bluish, and for some reason Camtasia is causing me problems right here. But I got this color going on here, and as long as you keep it from being dark, it will really help your scene. I do have the environment sun intensity to 0.5, so change those. Everything else is defaulted. I have not changed anything else. So those 3 things. Okay. And when you make those changes, then make sure you always hit enter so it enters it. And go ahead and close that. And the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and build all, or build lighting. Okay. It shouldn't take long to build, depending on your scene. and then play your scene, see if it's okay. And there's one last thing we're going to do is we're going to change the fog density, and that should be done in just a little bit here once we get this done. Okay, that's good. Alright, now the fog. So it's just easier to open up your content browser and go to scene and then select your exponential height fog. Open that up and you'll notice that you have your fog density, which is up, which is pretty low. I'm going to do 0.2. Now I would start with 0.2. Don't go much higher than that. I want to be able to see. You want to be able to see where you're going, and fog height is at 0.5. The opacity is set at 1, and the start distance I changed to 0. Okay. So before it was I think 1024. Okay. So you can see that it pushed the fog out too far, so I just changed it to 0. And you can also change the fog opacity. Now, if you go too high on this, you won't be able to see your moon or your stars, so then you're defeating the purpose of seeing the stars, okay? If you go too high density, the same thing. So if I look up, I would not be able to see those stars and the moon. So you kind of want to, you got to be careful not to add too much fog or turn the density so high that you cannot see these things. So if I go to 1 on this, obviously nothing can be seen. You get a more dramatic effect, yes, but it becomes incredibly hard to even see that, obviously you're assuming that it's nighttime and it's really foggy and blah blah blah, but you're missing the point. Okay, so you can kind of play with that a little bit until you are able to see the stars and the moon. So I ended up with a 0.2, which is fine. Okay, so it still gives me a nice ambiance, and from far away you can see that looks really good, and you'll be able to see far enough ahead, but yet it's still kind of spooky and scary. Okay, so that's kind of what I want you to do. Build all and go ahead and play and see if you like it. And if you need to turn up the fog just a little bit more, that's cool, but just remember that, again, the whole idea about a nighttime sky is to be able to see the stars a little bit, and you can definitely do that with this. Okay, so anyway, find a good balance between what you need and what you should have, and I'll talk to you soon.